Once there, we put our heads together and started looking over each of the messages we had copied.
Here's the one that was written on my desk, and this one here is the one that was on Holmes's. I'd wager this is a simple substitution cipher.
What's that? Pardon, Holmes, but I'm not at all familiar with the term.
It's a cipher where each letter is substituted for another, although the name already implies as much. As an example, let's take the 26 letters of the English alphabet, A to Z. You would first decide what to substitute each letter for, and create a table reflecting the answers for easy reference. The most straightforward one would be replacing each letter with the letter that comes after it in the alphabet. A for B, B for C, and so on. If I were to write my own name this way, this would be the result.
I see. That makes for quite an effective cipher. It would take me a while to work out the message.
Perhaps for you, but for anyone used to decoding these things, it would take no time at all. They would be able to read the original message as if it never existed. There aren't many familiar enough with ciphers for that to be the case, mind, but I find it still worth noting.
Mr. Mackenzie's message uses more than letters. It uses symbols as well. How are we possibly meant to decode this?
The key lies in how frequently the letters of the English alphabet are used. Look at the messages we've been given. Do you notice how some symbols and letters crop up far more often than others? You're right. Like this one here. Oh, and this one. The most commonly used letter in the English alphabet is E. Second is T, followed by A, then O, all the way down to the last. As such, we're best off substituting letters in the cipher from the standard alphabet based on frequency. We can correct mistakes and piece together the rules along the way. So upon closer inspection, this is the most commonly used letter, and therefore likely E. This is presumably T.
And in cases where there are two letters or symbols used consecutively?
Not every letter was designed to be written twice in succession in the English language, but certain letters do happen to be used commonly for just that. L as in all, T as in Scott, S as in mission.
Ah, we can narrow down the most likely candidates for double letters in these ciphers easily enough then.
Correct. Incidentally, E and O are also common consecutive letters. Ugh. Testing every letter and symbol sounds as taxing as it is tedious.
It may not be as difficult to decode as you think. These symbols resemble those used in the cipher used by Mary, Queen of Scots.
That's encouraging. There should be some books on that cipher somewhere in the library.
Shall we see what we can find then? Which bookshelf should we check first? I think this is just for your detective rating, and I think I got it right the first time. Let me see if I can find anything among the books on crimes. Mary, Queen of Scots, used the cipher when exchanging letters with the other conspirators in the plot to assassinate England's queen. A book that details the plot ought to have more regarding the cipher. Yeah, there we go. Alright, we can skip this bit because it's just a little bit with Jack and Marple. Just don't want to go too far. Hi, Jack. Don't tell anybody. Alright, so we are going to decipher Watson's this time. We'll start with your message, Watson. Let's see. Okay, and before we do this, I'm going to save just in case I mess up decoding. There we go. Close. L2.
Now that I've taken a closer look, I have a hunch H is the most common letter in mine. I suspect it's a simple Caesar cipher then.
Oh. Okay. Is that an L? Man, I can't read. It could be an L, it could be a D. What, may I ask, constitutes one of those? I like that we're helping Watson and Holmes is still here. Oh boy.
It's when each letter is shifted a certain number of places up or down the alphabet. This appears to be a right shift of 3.
Okay, so then B is E, C is F. Okay. Interesting.
Did he give me an easy one because he thought I wouldn't be able to manage anything more difficult? I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay, it's not gonna be a 2. Is that a Q? And a... Hold on, I gotta, like, really figure out what this handwriting is. It can't be a Q. Why can I not read this handwriting at all? Is it an F? And... Man, I honestly don't know what letters these are. To me, it looks like an L and a 2, but that doesn't make any sense. What's my options, Emily? What is the first word? It, in, or so? In? What would that make the letters if it's 3 over? And it's like, I'll pick a middle option. So N would be M, L, K, right? J, K, L, M, N. K, L, M, N. Yeah, so the second one's a K? If I'm right. And I would be H, G, F, E. I think I might have messed that up. That does not look like an E in a... Whatever. I saved. In, then? Alright, guessing for the win, because I can't read Mr. Mackenzie's handwriting. Yay! We're smart.
That's what I think. We must be on the right track.
Huzzah. We persisted through the ciphers, questioning, decoding, pursing our lips in irritation when without a clue, and cheering when one was solved beyond doubt. Each success was enough to restore our motivation for the next.
Oh, we've done it. Everything's been decoded. We'll have to let the others know it's done.
We retired for the classroom as though there wasn't a second to spare.
All right. If we put all of the messages together so that they can be read coherently, this is what we're left with.
I fear I do not have long to live.
But even should heartless blades tear into me, I will always be proud to have been able to teach you. By the time you have finished decoding this message, I may no longer be of this world. But for this time, I bid myself to rest, recalling with warmth your smiles.
From St. Woolworth 112A to my beloved students.
There was no N in Watson's message, I would just like to state for the record. None of us could contain our shock.
Mr. Mackenzie.
Blades tear into me? Then his life is absolutely in danger. I think you've missed the most important point. The address at the bottom. The rest is within the realms of our expectations. I have a horrible feeling about this. This address may be...
Maybe what, Holmes? Have you figured out something more?
No, I haven't. I was rambling.
We should hurry to wherever this is. What if the worst has already happened? And if it's a trap, are we safe to go? Even if it is, it's the only way we're going to learn what happened to him.
I agree. Let's go. Our apprehension growing ever stronger, we ran. Like a horse, apparently. We traveled after hailing a cab. The address was revealed to us when it finally stopped. Holmes, this can't be!
It is. We've reached a graveyard.
The chime of church bells was distinct. Lightning flickered across the sky, and rain began to pound against us to create a woeful painting. The sight within the graveyard grew more unsettling when we observed eerie silhouettes not far away. They were all dressed in black clothing, sniffling and sobbing and holding one another. We approached. Carved on one of the gravestones closest to them was an all too familiar name.
No! I refuse to believe it.
It was the one we dreaded the most, Mackenzie.
Were we too late? No!
All of us were left speechless by the reality before us. Then, just like that, the silence was broken.
Oh. Hello, class. What brings you here?
Who? I turned in response to the voice and was at a sudden loss.
Mr. Mackenzie? Why are you...
Moments before, we had been convinced he was late to rest, but there he was, standing, alive.
Mr. Mackenzie? Don't tell me you weren't able to ascend and are now trapped here as a ghost!
Oh no. I assure you I am breathing quite well. This here is the funeral of an old friend.
But we decoded all those messages you left for us. Why, one of them had this very address.
Aha. That's how you found this place.
Mr. Mackenzie, perhaps we are owed a swift explanation.
Well, with regard to the address, I live next to this graveyard. My home is a stone's throw away from here.
So it was for your home?
Then whose gravestone is that?
That would be my father's. He lost his life to hepatitis, I don't know how many years ago. That he was laid to rest next to my home is quite fortunate for me. That ain't what most call fortunate.
Then you weren't being targeted by people after your life? You'd mentioned not having long to live.
Ah, so I did. That was in reference to my sudden appendicitis.
Appendicitis?
I was told surgery was my only option if I hoped to survive. They'd have to cut me right open, with a scalpel. To be put to sleep with chloroform and cut open left me positively shaken, but to do so without an anesthetic made it worse. So, as you can understand, I feared greatly for my health and fled.
You're a grown adult, sir.
You're quite right, which is why I decided to steal my nerves, to be cut open by a steel scalpel. But first, I left you my ciphered messages so I would have no regrets.
Have you had the surgery?
I have. My abdomen was hacked to bits. Or as the doctor might say, the surgery was without complications. I am indeed fit to return to lessons.
Mr. Mackenzie relayed his tale with gaiety, but he was the only person among us who bore a smile.
I'd rather bury you right here.
Let's not be too angry, Jack.
That goes for all of you. We should be grateful he is well, I suppose.
Well, I'll admit to some relief that he is alive. It would leave us with some rather unpleasant memories if our final piece of schoolwork was deciphering our teacher's will.
You were this worried. God has blessed me, this I know.
He was so deeply, genuinely moved that the entire class lost its will to complain any further. What? How did this get here? I felt a folded piece of paper in my pocket and removed it to read its contents. I can't wait to hear what Watson has for us. It's a Caesar cipher. This must be from Watson. I'll need to substitute each letter with the one that comes 3 letters after it in the alphabet. I can do that.
Thank you for your help today. I'll bet our schoolmates were thrilled to have you leading the way. I know I was.
Aww. What a sweetheart.
Goodness.
Reading it gave me a warm, fluttery feeling in my chest. I happened to nonchalantly look up after reading it to spot just who I was thinking about. Watson must have been thinking of me also. He's always thinking of you, girl. He then placed his finger on his lips and gave me a mischievous grin. I'm sure I was even more thrilled than you, Watson. We exchanged smiles, the rest of our potential audience completely unaware of our own little world. Aw, I sniff a romance blossoming finally. I folded the message and placed it carefully in my pocket. The rain had stopped. As quickly as it had come, it was gone and clear. The day had been an eventful one, but I was delighted that our mystery ended with Mr. Mackenzie safe. Perhaps it was worth the anxiety to know we could come together as a class. Indeed. Hi, Pendleton. Good to see you. Don't ask me about boys, please. Alright. A gathering in shambles. Is this a picnic episode? Are we finally there at the end of our common route? Let's see. Once again, the morning was beautiful. Once again, the sky was clear as could be. It was the most perfect day one could dream for a picnic. Alright, let's skip ahead of this a little bit. There we go. Oh, I can see Holmes and Watson over there.
You're late, Miss Whiteley. A fine morning, isn't it? We've been counting the minutes till you arrived.
Good morning, Watson. Though I can't help but notice you seem bothered.
Well, you see, a bit of trouble followed us out of Baker Street.
Trouble, you say? Excuse me? That's not the proper way to speak of the sweet soul who slaved away the hours preparing your lunch. Hudson? What brings you here? Hello, Emily. I'm your assistant, so naturally I made you lunch for today's picnic. The moment she laid eyes on me, she was more than content to dash over and cling to me as a child would their mother.
I told her this was part of the Academy studies, but would she listen? Not a word. No matter how many times I asked her to stay home. Worse still, she threatened to withhold our own lunches if we refused to take her with us.
Their reactions to the situation couldn't have looked any different. Holmes and Watson were sullen, whilst Hudson bounced up and down, positively radiant. I had so wanted you to try my food, Emily. Will you? I'll try, but I've brought plenty of delicious morsels of my own. See? My! You can certainly see why I play second fiddle between us. What a delightful spread! Good morning, Mr. Mackenzie.
All right, class. Can you hear me? If you can, please gather round.
We were amongst those who could, in fact, hear him, though we were a fair distance away. Yes, sir. Yes, sir! Okay. So, everyone has... no, I'm gonna do it again. We're gonna spend time with Watson at the very least. Let's do Holmes first. We'll leave Watson for last. We'll skip and... let's try a different option. I know with Hudson, only one option works, so I don't know if it's the same for everybody. Let's test it. Listen, Holmes. It's not often we have the whole class together outside like this. Why not come and help set up lunch so we can enjoy it together?
I'd rather not. I'll go along later, but leave me be for now. You're going to scare off the bugs.
He hadn't even spared a glance in my direction, and his focus on bug watching only became that much more intense after my request. You were watching bugs? Well, if that's what you want. I knew better than to think anything I said would change his mind, so I decided to invite someone else. Alright, well, let's do that again. Okay, we'll just watch what he's doing, because that worked last time like a charm. Oh, the music. Okay, so we got Holmes. Let's do Marple. I think we did this last time, right? There we go, we got her. Lupin. Let's take a closer look at the book and see what happens. Because last time I got a CG with him. I'm wondering if I can avoid the CG. I grew more curious still and peeked at the book's title. Now, what genre would I read if I were Lupin? An Eternal Oath? It wasn't anything I'd ever heard of. What could this be about? I reached out to pick it up, careful not to wake Lupin in the process. He's got his hand on it, so I'll need to move that to get access to it. But upon touching his hand... Oh!
Huh? Miss Whiteley, what are you...
He seemed to be half asleep with how he mumbled the question, but as it registered to him that our hands were touching, he suddenly became very alert indeed.
What? What is this?
Lupin was flustered to an impressive degree, with his face growing several shades of red.
Why are you touching my hand? I'm not used to... at least do it when I'm awake. I'd prefer it if I could ease myself into it.
Oh, wait your turn, you.
Calm down, Lupin. Please. I wasn't trying to hold your hand as such.
I slunk my hand behind my back with a start and found myself becoming equally embarrassed.
I was curious what book you were reading. Oh, is that it? I hadn't meant to startle you, truly. I feel just awful. But please don't. I'm at fault for misunderstanding.
Now fully awake, he adjusted his crooked spectacles back in their proper place.
Was that all? Nothing else? Oh! No, it wasn't. I nearly forgot why I came here.
How would you like to join us for lunch? You'd be more than welcome.
Well, I'd very much like to. I think I need a bit more time to calm down first. My heart is still pounding.
Of course. Come along as soon as you're ready, all right? I didn't get him, though. I then set off to invite someone else. Oh no. What if it is only one option for everybody? That was fun, though. Well, I'll try this one and just see. Lupin looked so innocent when sleeping. I felt almost guilty for waking him, but it had to be done. A gentle approach would be best, I'm sure.
Lupin, wake up. It's time for lunch.
I shook his shoulders with care, but he showed no signs of waking. Heavens! I thought him a light sleeper. Well, I tried being delicate. Now for more drastic measures. Lupin! Wake up! Shouting would surely do the trick, I thought. And yet it did nothing. Ugh. I feel like I've somehow managed to put him in an even deeper sleep. What witchcraft is this? Oh well, I suppose all I can do is try again later. Silently praying that I would have better luck later, I set off to invite someone else. He totally was pretending to sleep. He's getting me back. Alright, fine. You want your CG, Lupin? You can have your dang diddly dang CG. Let's do it. Your beautiful skin and so forth, monsieur. Alright, we got you. Hudson. At least this one I know for sure. Joined in on the fun. Alright. We'll just go with what works. I think we watched him sleep last time, right? Yep, that's what it was. And Kobayashi. What if I were to just simply tell him why I'm here? Who haven't I gone and spoken to? Well, there is only one. The best for last. Holmes and Watson are so often together. I wonder where Holmes' other half's gotten to. As I continued to survey the area, I heard a rustling from above my head, and some singing and chirping of birds. I wonder if Watson also only has, like, one thing that works. I guess we're gonna find out. I glanced upwards, expecting nothing in particular. Except there was most certainly a particular something to be found. Watson was propped against the tree, looking far out into the distance. What could he be doing up there? I wonder if I should? I watched last time. Let's try climbing the tree. That's what I wanted to do last time. I couldn't resist any longer. Seeing him up there, I felt the overwhelming urge to climb up the tree myself. I always used to climb them as a child when Pendleton's head was turned. I can handle this. Here goes.
Huh? Emily? I hadn't taken you for the sort to climb trees.
It didn't take long for Watson to notice the start of my little expedition. Seemed quite pleasantly surprised by it, in fact. Hey. Oh, but I am. I'm a genuine expert, I'll have you know. Do you mind if I climb over to you?
So long as you're careful. Oh, and take care not to shake the tree too much.
Why?
You'll see soon enough.
Ah! I did say I was a veteran, but despite all my blustering mere moments before, I nearly slipped on the way up.
Careful, Emily! Here, grab hold of me.
All right. Thank you. I'd managed to avoid falling thanks to him extending his hand. Perhaps I ought to think of climbing first and boasting later next time. Oh. Ba-dum-bump goes the heart. He makes supporting my weight look so simple. I'm impressed with how strong he is. I suspect I should have felt more at ease, I thought, but something about the way he held my hand had my heart racing. Ooh, this is gonna be good. As soon as I reached where he was perched, I had the most wonderful reward for my efforts waiting for me. A CG! Oh, hello! Even my phone got excited and was like, ah! Look at the little bird on his head! Oh, you got robins! Proper robins.
There, have a look.
My! They're adorable! Are they robins? A number of birds were chirping to a blissful tune in Watson's palm.
You can't make any sudden movements, all right? It'll scare them off.
Please, I'm an animal lover too. I won't. They're such precious little things.
Aren't they? I've been getting them used to me, putting food on my hand and whistling to them and such. I've got some wheat and nuts left in my pocket. Try giving them some.
He shared a sample of food with his free hand. Thank you. Though, I can't help but wonder, do you always stroll about with bird food in your pockets?
I do. Not this much usually, but I thought I should since we were visiting the park today.
His face glowed with a certain sense of pride as the birds pecked away. I could see now why animals often flock to him. They won't fly away if I give them some, will they?
So long as you're gentle, they won't.
I'll give it a try, then. I did feel nervous, but I sprinkled some of the food on my palm and cautiously held it out before the birds. Aw, let's take a look at that. Oh, he's holding her hand, and they got bird feet in their other hands and robins, and oh, it's so cute! So freaking cute! Within moments, they began to flitter close and nibble affectionately at my fingers. Look! Look! They're so darling!
You're doing well.
In no time at all, I was surrounded by them. I hadn't thought they would be so tame. We're in the middle of London, and yet they'll fly right up to you.
Well, there are an awful lot of bird lovers in the city, so I imagine they're more tame here than most places.
As he said that, a crow swooped by, which must have been enough to frighten the robins as they all scattered in a burst. There they go. That's a pity.
A bit unfortunate, yes. By the way, did you need something? I don't think you're here to play with birds.
Oh yes. Seeing as we're all here in the park, I was hoping we could enjoy lunch together.
You climbed all the way up here to invite me to lunch?
Well, I suppose I could have called you from the ground, but seeing you up here gave me the urge to come to you. It's such a thrill to be so high off the ground, isn't it?
I know exactly what you mean. The world looks so different from here. Well, thank you for seeing it all with me. And after spending the morning feeding birds, I feel like I could use something to eat as well.
As we climbed down the tree together, Watson, ever gentle, extended his hand once again to help me safely back down. Aww. Okay. I still have Jack to invite, so would you mind going ahead and waiting for us there?
Not at all. See you in a bit, then.
We parted ways, and I set off to gather Jack. Alright, Jack. Everyone agreed to join. So, call out to Jack. Hello, Jack. Won't you come back? Alright. Please, have your fill. Ah, this picture again. One by one, I'd taken out the lunchboxes from the basket Pendleton had prepared for me. There's more than enough, Jack. I'll need you to eat as much as you can stomach. A typically cold response, but he didn't leave, which I considered enough of a success. As for you, Marple, here's the maids of honor you were promised. They're in here, so eat as many as you like. They look splendid. Seemingly impressed, she happily helped herself. I'd love it if you would try mine as well. I put my whole heart into making them. Oh, thank you. It would be my pleasure. And, of course, the two of you are welcome to try whatever catches your eye. How about these?
You know how to make Tamagoyaki?
They're very different in shape to the ones we know. They're called omelets. What's a Tamagoyaki? It's a dish made by beating then cooking eggs before rolling them into a rectangular shape.
In Japan, eggs are a staple of the rich and wealthy. They're not a food common people partake in every day.
Is that so?
Let's try some, Akachi!
Calm yourself. There's no need to rush. The eggs aren't going to flee the table if you don't eat them this instant.
Thanks, Emily!
I shall try some as well. Well, what do you think?
Delicious! I love the fluffy texture. First the custard tart, and now this?
I agree. The seasoning is just the right strength, I might add. The accompanying sauce complements the dish nicely. Pendleton's cooking had found itself 2 more fans. I'm so pleased you like them. There's a whole other range of things to sample now, so please, sample away.
I would love to, but there's a mountain of food.
It's disrespectful not to eat all you've been offered. Jack, meanwhile, had been nibbling his way through a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. I'm so glad he's eating with us after all. Lupin, who was sitting opposite of me, had taken to sighing whilst opening and closing his lunchbox. You aren't going to eat, Lupin?
I will, but you see...
Something wrong?
Watson made to peer at what was inside.
Ah! Don't do that, Watson!
Hiding it like that is just going to make us all the more curious what's in there. We're all detectives, remember? I'm relatively certain you're only interested in the food. It doesn't take a detective to deduce that. Of course I'm interested in the food.
What is it?
Ah! Watson, quick to ignore protests and eager to discover its contents, leant over to take the lunchbox.
What? Lupin, what? You can't be... What is this?
Upon peeking inside, Watson looked as though he were trying to restrain himself from a reaction of some kind.
I've never seen a lunch quite like this, to be certain.
Well, this is something.
I have seen nothing. Nothing at all.
Is it really so unique?
Do you see now why I didn't want anyone to look, but you couldn't resist? You're all such ruthless brutes.
Beg your pardon. I couldn't help myself. But who, made this?
My dad.
My! He's a true artist!
Really? You have my sympathies. Quite sincerely.
Keep your pecker up now.
This is rather a special sight.
I can't keep it in any longer.
Stop, Watson! I was doing so well!
Watson and Kobayashi were clutching their sides in laughter, and everyone else had presented Lupin with their most supportive peers and pouts. Curiosity piqued, I thought to finally see for myself.
Goodness! It's a heart-shaped catchery with your name on it.
Lupin himself was colored red with embarrassment, but I was rather colored impressed.
I wish these days could go on forever.
My quiet whisper disappeared with the wind, heard by and reaching no one, but signaling that the common route was done.